Hi everyone, today we're going to look at a new product from Fellow, the Aiden automatic brewer. It's a great brewer because you can brew by the cup but also up to 1.5 liters. It comes with different baskets to get the best result when using the smaller batches and the bigger batches. I've been really enjoying using it here at the roastery, especially when we pair it with the Fellow Ode Gen 2 grinder. This brewer can also brew cold brew. You have the settings in the machine, but you can also create your own, which is a cool feature. It pairs really well in terms of the design with other Fellow products that you may already have in your kitchen, like the Fellow kettles or the Ode Gen 2. One of the cool features of the Fellow Aiden brewer that it comes with two different baskets, each designed for different amount of coffee to brew. For small amount of coffee, so we'll use the small green conical shaped basket. This is typically from a 200 ml brew up to 450 ml brew. For bigger brews, we'll use the bigger basket. So this is a flat bottom basket. This is from 450 ml up to 1.5 liters. Once you've got your baskets, open the top of the brewer. The collar goes at the front. You'll hear a little click. Then once you've got your basket in place, you're going to look up here at the shower head position. As we can see, we've got two different settings for the shower head. One's for the bigger batch, one for the smaller batch. If we brew a big batch of coffee, we want to move our little dial to the bigger batch, meaning we're going to get use of all of the shower head present in the brewer. When using the smaller basket, we can turn it to the small basket color, meaning we're only going to use the shower head in the middle. The Aiden brewer comes with a 1.5 liter thermal carafe. Keeps your coffee nice and hot and is very easy to clean. When using the bigger baskets and brewing from 450 ml up to 1.5 liters, you have to use a thermal carafe which goes underneath here. When brewing smaller amount of coffee with a smaller basket, we don't have to use the carafe, so we can remove it. We can brew using a glass jug, like so. Or we can also brew directly into our favorite mug. The Fellow Aiden comes with a 1.5 liter tank here. To fill it up, you can either open here and fill up from the side, or you can lift the reservoir and fill it up when you remove it from the brewer, if you find that easier. Cool feature of the Aiden is that it works by volumetric, meaning the machine will know how much water you've asked it to brew, so you can put more water than you need, and it will stop at the correct amount of water you've set. When brewing with a Fellow Aiden, you're going to use the two different types of filter papers. For the smaller single basket, it comes with those conical filter papers. For the bigger batch, you're going to use those flat bottom filter papers. When we start looking into the Fellow Aiden's menu, the first thing that come up is the instant brew. Instant brew just means that the brewer is going to brew with whatever water you've put in the tank. After, we're going to guided brew. Guided brew meaning that it's going to be the recipes that Fellow themselves have created as presets and put into the machine. And in that way also you can create your own profiles, and that's the one you've saved and really enjoyed, and you can go back to them and keep using them again and again. After that, we go into edit profile. This is where you can create new profiles and recipes for different coffees and just play around and by tweaking different things. Next, we go into scheduling. So scheduling means that we can program a brew to be brewed in the future. For example, if I want coffee to be ready tomorrow at 7 a.m., I can put my coffee and my water in my brewer today, program my brew for 7 a.m., and when I will come to Aiden in the morning, the brew will be already ready here for me at 7 a.m. Lastly, we go into settings. Settings where you can adjust general maintenance, language, time, date. Now that we've covered how the Aiden works and how to adjust settings, let's talk about grind size. When we're brewing with a small conical basket, so for example from 200 ml up to 300, we recommend using a grind size with our coffees from 5 to 6. When brewing from 300 ml up to 450 ml, we're going to use from number 6 to number 6.2. When brewing bigger batch, so that when we're going to change the basket for 450 ml up to 1 liter, we're going to use 7 and 8. When brewing from 1 liter up to 1.5 liters, we're going to grind from 8 until 9.1. When brewing with a fellow Aiden, we enjoy using a ratio of 1 to 16.5, equivalent to 60 grams of coffee for 1 liter of water. When brewing with a decaf coffee, just like a pour-over, we prefer to use a ratio of 70 grams of coffee for 1 liter of water. Once you create a recipe on the fellow Aiden, you can give it a name. For example, here we call it square mile. If I click on it, then we can see a lot more details about our recipe. We can choose our water temperature. We like to use quite hot brewing water. We've set our temperature to 98 degrees. Then if we go down, you can choose your ratio. So like I said, 1 to 16.5. And once you save that, when you brew coffee, Aiden will tell you how much coffee you should use for the amount of brew water that you're gonna use also. If we go down, we got the cold brew category. Then if you go to advanced, this is where things can get very interesting and you can really play around with different settings. At the top of the advanced, we've got the bloom. So the bloom phase is the first pour when you do a pour-over or a single brew or a batch brew. So if we click on it, we've got a few things we can control in the bloom phase with Aiden. So the first thing will be the ratio. So with the ratio, you can choose how much water the Aiden is going to dispense during your bloom phase. We like to keep it at the maximum, which is 1 to 3 for the small basket and the big basket. So we put our 1 to 3. Then underneath, we're going to have the duration of the bloom. So how long from the first pour of water up to the next pour of water. We've set our one to 45 seconds, and this is for a single basket or the big basket. Going underneath, you can change the temperature of your bloom. So if you want a cooler bloom, a hotter bloom, or the same temperature as the rest of your brewing, we've set our bloom to 98 degrees, just like the rest of our parameters when brewing. That's it for the bloom. So then if we can go back, the next things will be the single serve basket. So if we click on it, this is where we can change how many pulses of water we want the brewer to give us. We've been playing around a lot with the small basket and the big baskets, smaller brews, bigger brews, and we enjoy using around 3 to 4 pulses. This is what we recommend to start with, but that's the cool thing, that you can experiment with less pulses, more pulses, and figure out what you prefer. We can also decide the time between pulses. How long do we want the brewer to pause in between each pulses? We've set our one to 25 seconds. This is the same for the smaller brews basket and the bigger basket. And then you've got the temperature of your pulses. So you can set your pulses at different temperature, which is very interesting. Currently, in the big baskets, we've set all of them at 98 degrees and getting great results. But for example, when brewing a bigger batch of coffee, you could start hot, and for the last pulses, you could have like a declining temperature. And that's it for the pulses. And then we can go back. And then we've got the same thing for the batch pulses. So if I click again here, we can see I've put it to 4 pulses. We've got our 4 different batch pulses temperature, our time between pulses. We can go back, and this is where we can save everything and go back to our menu. Overall, we really like using the fellow Aiden. It can be as easy as you want it to be. You can create one profile that you really enjoy using, save it, and just keep using the same profile time after time. On the other hand, when using Aiden, you can also change a lot of things with the brewing parameters and dive deep as much as you want. You can change the batch size, the bloom ratio, the bloom temperature, the pulses, the time between pulses, the temperature of the pulses. This is thanks to its very packed, full of settings menu, which you can adjust and tweak to your own preference, which we think is quite rare in most brewers.